So if you're just joining, take just a minute to grab like a rolled up towel. A yoga mat will work really well. I've got a yoga mat and I've also got like a foam pad here. This will work really well. So grab something that you can use for that purpose as well. You may also need a chair or a countertop. Okay. I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me just adjust real quick. All right, that's fine. All right, so good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. We're gonna do some stretching today. Technological difficulties. I don't know how well it's working until I get into Zoom, so I haven't figured out a way to make that better. All right, so more people joining. So let's just go ahead and start. We're gonna start from the ground up today, I think. We're gonna start with the feet, okay? You may be wondering why I have the RMS Titanic over here today. That's because 108 years ago today, she sank, about 2:30 this morning. So things could always be worse. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with some foot exercises here. There we go. All righty, so I'm wearing just socks. You can do these with your shoes on if you want to, but I just want to start, we're just going to start by lifting up the knees a little bit, and we want to be kind of warm while we stretch too. So we're going to get our bodies a little bit warmed up. So let's go ahead and we're just lifting. I'm shifting my weight. Don't worry about your balance for now. I'm just lifting up my knees, lifting up my hips a little bit. And if this is your first class for the day, this is going to be a nice warm up for the rest of your day, a nice loosen up for the rest of the day. If you took class before this, I think Ron has a class before this, and this is your cool down. Okay, so let's go ahead now. Let's start articulating a little bit more through the feet, right? So we're coming up and we're pointing the toes and just trying to gently articulate through the feet. And as I'm shifting my weight, I'm really pushing through the ball of my foot and pushing off with the toes. You should feel this right in the calf muscle and of course in the arch of the foot. If you'd like, you can shift between your feet, just back and forth. Try not to roll your ankles. Actually, as you're doing this, go ahead and work your hands as well. Get those hands warmed up. I've been doing a lot of typing and homework recently, so my wrists are feeling it. So just doing some circles with the wrists, and I'm not being dainty with it, really big circles. Stir the soup, okay? Really big circles. Make sure you go the opposite direction. Nice deep breaths. This already feels good on my legs. Okay, just bending the knees, alternating. Okay, keep going. Come on. Good. And let's go ahead now. We're just going to do some squats per se. Okay, so we're just going to just shift the weight slightly to the ball of the, to the heel and the arch of the foot. And we're just going to bend those knees and we're just going to come down. We're not going to actually do squats here. We're just going to use that position for a stretch. Just loosening up the side of the hips here and getting those knees warmed up. So we're down here. If you can't get quite down there, just use your hands on your knees here. Okay, keeping that back nice and active. And then to get up, rather than extending the body and the knees at the same time, let's try to lift your butt first, still bent knees, and then come all the way up. So we're gonna do that a few times. We're like a deadlift actually. So just nice and shallow. We're not going deep. We're just getting warmed up. This is really the first I've moved around today. So we want to take it nice and slow, especially when it's cold outside. We don't want to jump right into stretching, okay? I'm wearing like a million layers too. I want to be nice and warm. So we're just going to do a few of these, and I'm really articulating through my spine here, really trying to keep the core active. And remember, everybody, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. So I'm going to go ahead and start just doing some of these now. If you're not quite this flexible, start down here. I'm not that flexible this early in the morning. I know it's already halfway through the day, but I'm still not very flexible right now. So I'm just bending my knees, hips back, and then straightening the knees. Your upper body may have to come up a little bit. Depends on your flexibility. Okay. I'm not pushing my knees back. They're still slightly bent. So you should really feel the stretch in the low back and the hamstrings. Let's go ahead and just start moving the hips side to side. Okay, you're just shifting your weight, but really articulate through the hip. And you'll start to feel a gentle stretch on this side. Okay, keep doing that. Just loosening up. Good. And just articulating here. Good. For those of you who joined in a little bit late, you might want to grab a yoga mat or a rolled up towel of some kind. We're going to use that for stretching later today. A squishy foam pad might work. She's wobbling a little bit. Not the sturdiest ship, as we learned. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's open up those toes. So when I do this, I'm really making sure that I'm not opening from the ankle, right? I can move just my foot. That's a thing that your ankles and your wrists can do. Okay, we want to open from the hip here, okay? So we're going to activate that gluteus medius, and let's just go ahead, go down a nice sumo squat, and we're just going to hold this stretch. If holding it like that's too much, use a chair, okay? So you're just going to sit down normally, and then you'll open up cowboy style, and just open up like this, and you'll feel a nice stretch in that groin muscle from the knee up into the hip there. Okay, otherwise, you're gonna be down like this, ready for sumo. Nice deep breaths. Try to relax your shoulders too. I know that your hands are on your knees probably, but try to relax those shoulders. And I can't see anybody because you don't have your webcams on. So make sure that you're not too narrow, because if you're too narrow, you're gonna feel a lot of a stretch here, but I want you to feel it here instead. So nice and wide, traveling slowly side to side, very slowly side to side. Deep, deep breaths. And remember, just because I can go down this far doesn't mean you can go down this far, or you might go further. Do the stretch that your body is able to do. And when you start to really feel this in the quads, lift your butt, turn those toes in, and come on up nice and slow. Let's go ahead and do a quick quad stretch here. Really mild quad stretch, actually. I'm just going to flip my foot over top and push my hips forward. So I'm actually stretching my shin, the front of my ankle, and the quad just a little bit right now. I'd recommend this on carpet. Okay, so I'll just flip my foot over. You can also do this if that's not working for you, and you'll feel just a little stretch here, maybe in the lower back. Try to push your hips forward, right in here. I'll try to hold these stretches. If you want to arch your back, go for it. If you're sore in the belly or in all these muscles from other classes, you are definitely going to be feeling these stretches, even though they're really gentle. All right, let's go ahead and do the other side. Couple people just joining in. Make sure that you've got some kind of rolled up towel or a foam pad or a yoga mat. We're going to be using that today. Whew, I'm very tight in those shins. So I really feel this stretch in the front of my ankle right now. And I'm pushing my hips forward, so you should feel it in the quads as well. Oh, good. And come on forward. Let's go ahead and practice that balance for just a moment. Do some circles with the ankles. Use something if you need it. Okay, just some circles. Practice that balance. Just circles with the ankles. And then we'll get to the harder stretching. I don't know about any of y'all, but this weather makes me realize which joints have arthritis or bursitis or somitis or something. Whoops, there we go. Can definitely tell. Good. All right, let's go ahead and loosen up those shoulders and the back just a little bit. I am going to use my chair. I recommend that everybody use some kind of support here for this. So I'm just going to lean forward like this, nice straight back, take a big step backwards, soft knees, actively bend them a little bit, okay? And then you're going to imagine that someone's pulling your hips backwards, and you're just going to take this nice stretch here. And as I do this, I'm letting my hands just relax, but I'm imagining that I'm lengthening my arm. Okay, imagine that elbow's coming towards the chair, and you'll feel a stretch in the triceps and into the lats as well, the armpit. Deep breaths. When you're ready, you can try to drop your head. Nice, nice deep breaths. I'm gonna hold this for a little while. Try to release tension in the shoulders. Spread out your toes. Let your knees be bent. Let your hips relax. And to come out of this, you're just gonna lift your head nice and slow. Come out nice and slow, and let's straighten the arms. So you might need to take a bigger step back. And we're really stretching those shoulders. If that hurts you, you don't have to do it, okay? There's better ways to stretch the shoulders. You can always like reach up towards the ceiling like this, okay, against the wall, and that'll really get those shoulders stretched out as well. Otherwise, we're gonna go ahead and do this stretch with straight arms now. Still imagining that we're lengthening, pulling the hands away from the body. Soft knees. Yep. Nice deep breaths. I can really feel this in my back, my upper back, my mid back, the sides of my back, right? Oh, deep breaths. Let those knees stay slightly bent. You can rock back and forth. Okay, let your head drop. You can go side to side, especially if you feel that in the IT band. Go ahead and lift the head nice and slow. Step it forward. And we're slowly going to bring those hands behind us and puff out the chest very slowly, especially if those shoulders are stiff. Just puff out the chest, stretching out those chest muscles and the shoulders. So I'm imagining that I'm pushing my shoulders down and back very gently. If you have a rotator cuff injury, or if you tend to sleep on your shoulders funny, this one can be really tough. So just make sure that if it's really intense, that you just bend your elbows, and you can start by articulating the shoulder, nice little circles, okay? And you're probably gonna feel that like right up in here. If you've done Kirk's or Ron's class, your chest is probably pretty sore, your pectoralis muscles. So really make sure that you're kind of puffing out the chest and stretching those, because those attach at the shoulder and go across to the sternum. So we want to make sure that those are stretched out. Try to relax as you do this, right? Nice deep breaths. And I've just got my elbows bent and my hands laced behind my back. And as I loosen up, I'm gonna slide down the butt. Don't lock the elbows. Just like we don't lock our knees, we're not gonna do that with our elbows either. Deep breaths. And eventually they'll relax. To come out of this, I just release my hands nice and slow. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna cross my hands, like my arms, like I've got a bad attitude. I'm just gonna puff out. Imagine someone's pulling you. Okay, puff out your back, drop your head, your forehead towards your arms. Do that a couple times. I'm down on the ground so you can see you don't have to be down here. You can be standing or sitting in your chair. But I'm taking deep breaths. I'm doing this so I can get some tension, so I can pull my shoulder blades apart. Keep going, keep doing that. And lower down. Switch hands. It's like the scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz, right? Okay, switch hands. Oh, this way. And do the same thing. If you are putting your head down towards the floor, you're definitely going to feel this, especially if you're really creating length from the elbow outwards. Reach. Push those shoulder blades apart. You can also tuck your tailbone a little bit. And go ahead and release those arms. Oof. And we'll go ahead and stretch the neck as well. Okay. We're just going to go ahead and sit up. Well, about 70% effort here. Okay. Shoulders are very stiff today. About 70% effort. So I don't want to be totally rigid, but I don't want to be slouching either. Okay. So nice posture. Okay. So let's just go ahead and we're going to rotate the head. If your shoulders are stiff, your neck is probably stiff too. So just rotate the head. We're starting by facing one side, and then we're going to roll it forward. Really start loosening up those neck bones. Good. Go ahead and just slowly go side to side. So let's actually, I want you to look to the left. Take your left hand, put it on the right side of your face. I know we're not supposed to be touching our face. I won't tell. Okay. So we're just going to look to the left and gently leverage your head to the left. Try to relax your shoulders as you do this. This will give you a little bit more leverage. Okay. So you'll be stretching this muscle right here, this big neck muscle that we can always see, is sternocleidomastoid. There'll be a spelling bee after this. Okay, so try not to like move your jaw. You're just gently using your hand to help get a little extra leverage out of that neck muscle there. And very slowly release the head down to the other side. Oh, deep breaths. Very tight today. Just relax your head into your hand. Try to relax that shoulder. If you need more stretch, you can put your hands out to the side, the hand that you're facing away from, and then flex the hand. And you'll really feel that stretch from probably the hand all the way up into the base of your neck. That's good. Okay. Cool. And go ahead and relax. If anybody has a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball, preferably not a golf ball, but some kind of soft to medium firm ball, go ahead and grab that. If you don't have one, that's all right. You can just use your hands here, or you can use your hands if you prefer it. But I think we all need a massage, don't we? So let's go ahead. If you're using your hands, you're going to find your collarbone. Okay. Then you're going to shimmy back and you're going to find your shoulder blade, right? That bump right up here. And I just want you to get up in the meat right here at the base of the neck, the top of the shoulder. Okay. If you've got a ball, just go ahead and get on in there. Just sitting up about 70% and getting up in that muscle there. Okay. You might feel that there's some tension traveling from here up into the base of the neck, and that's your trapezius. You want to make sure that you stretch that. That's a big muscle. Okay. Go ahead and just keep doing that. If you find a spot that feels really good, just relax there. All right. Oh, crunch. All right, just take a minute to get up in your neck. I think the weather the last couple days made me a little extra stiff, little dreary, little droopy. I keep those muscles nice and relaxed. It was a great day to plant some stuff the other day. Good thing I didn't look at the weather. Okay, just getting up the top of the shoulders. Okay. This is something that you can do anytime, by the way. There's a lot of different things you can do with the ball. Maybe we'll use that a little bit later today too. Let's go ahead and we'll stretch the hips and the upper back a little bit more too. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to cross one leg over the other. If you cannot do that, what we'll have you do is you're going to just lift your leg with your arms and just going to bring it up towards your chest. Don't worry about your posture, okay? Just going to bring this up towards your chest. You can lace it underneath and just try to bring it across the body, and you'll feel a gentle stretch in the hip as well. Okay, otherwise, we're just gonna cross the legs, just like this, and we're gonna sit up. Most of us already feel a stretch. Okay, so we're just gonna sit here. Let's just breathe. Relax the hands. Just breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Don't fall asleep. Relax those shoulders, Lauren. My goodness. As you keep breathing, you'll feel that your knee might gently drop towards the floor a little bit, that your hip relaxes. Try to disengage the hamstrings on this bent knee. And remember that your bottom leg here, your bottom leg, the shin should be vertical, right? We don't want it too far back. We don't want it to the side or to the front. We want it right underneath the other foot. Okay, so just holding that. Now, if you want, you can think up and forward. Keep this leg relaxed because you're going to feel more of a stretch in the low back and in the hip. And if you're flexible enough, you can go all the way down and just gently lean on your back, on your leg. Your back is mostly straight. If you disengage your back, you won't feel the stretch so much. You got to keep your back nice and straight, right? So I'm not slouching forward. I'm keeping it nice and straight, trying to relax this top leg. So for those of you who are joining in a little bit late, we are going to need a foam pad, a yoga mat, or a rolled up towel today. So you might want to take a moment to grab that. And if you are flexible enough, okay, we're going to take a nice deep breath. Exhale, forward. Now you can let your back relax. Okay, whew, hello, hip. Try to let your foot relax, your shoulders. You're really going to feel this in the hip, maybe in the back as well. So just keep breathing. For those of you who are not quite flexible enough, just keep holding that leg up towards the opposite shoulder. Okay, you can kind of manipulate it with your upper body. Just get that hip moving. You can also just do some hip rotations here. Just get your hip activated. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. Still holding this stretch. And we're going to roll up one vertebra at a time. Go ahead and drop that leg nice and slow. Okay, and let's take a minute. Let's move around. Let's just walk around for a minute. Grab a drink of water. In my case, coffee. Delicious coffee. You usually don't want to drink acidic caffeinated beverages while you're exercising. So do as I say, not as I do, I guess. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to do the other side. Again, if you have difficulty stretching your hips in this way, you can do this laying down on the ground as well if it's easier to bring your knee up and then across the body. There's a million different ways to stretch these hips. So please, if you're having trouble, don't hesitate to ask me. Otherwise, we're going to bring this leg up. Remember to keep this bottom foot right underneath the top foot. Okay, nice deep breaths. And if you're feeling some tension in the knee here, that's common, okay? Just bring that, you can bring your shin a little bit further forward to take less, get less rotation out of that knee, so you're not torquing it as much. And we're taking nice deep breaths, just sitting up tall. Relax the hands and the shoulders. Well, the good news is it's a really crappy day, which means it's a great day for historical drama movies like Titanic. 108 years ago today. I'm a Titanic nerd. You want me on your trivia team for that. And Harry Potter. Try to relax The hamstrings here, taking nice deep breaths, thinking about what movies you're going to watch with your family today. Hopefully you're making a nice warm lunch. Some French onion soup. That sounds pretty good. Nice deep breaths. Don't let yourself slouch down as you relax. I'm leaning slightly forward. And as we take another nice deep breath, we're going to hinge forward. Whew, relax that leg. And when you're ready, you can drop down. Oh. You may find you're less flexible on one side. That's okay. Just keep breathing. Those shoulders are so tight today. Everything's pretty tight. If you're starting to get a cramp in the hamstring like I am, I would recommend coming out of the stretch nice and slow. Otherwise, just keep holding the stretch. Just straighten that leg if it's starting to hurt you. And hold for about 20 more seconds on that hip, everybody. Look how tense my shoulders are. I hope you're not as tight as me, everybody. All right, come on out of that nice and slow. Roll on up, and let's just drop both those legs out in front of us. So I'm going to sit about halfway back on my chair, and I'm just going to flex my feet out in front with, yes, I'm going to let you lock your knees, okay? Don't really force it, okay? But try to imagine that you're extending your heels away from your body and get the quads involved, right? Really get a stretch out of that. And we're going to go ahead and articulate through the feet as well. Don't worry about your posture, okay? Just relax your back. But I am trying to push my knees gently back and then put my feet flat on the floor and then flex them again. Okay. For some of you, if you have really stiff ankles or feet, this is going to be very difficult. So you should work at it nice and slow. And you can, of course, do it with rotated out. Those of you who take bar, okay, this is something you're going to want to work on. Some of the creaking and cracking noises that you're hearing are not the chair today. Ooh. Do it with rotated in legs as well, so it's like you're standing kind of duck-footed, okay? Do a couple of those. All right, let's do that sumo squat on our chair, everybody. Just open up those knees nice and wide. And because we've loosened up the hips, the hamstrings a bit, this should be a lot easier to do. And just relaxing. Now, of course, if this is very difficult for you, I'd recommend just doing it with straight legs, okay? And then slowly bending in as you come in. It'll increase the stretch in the groin. Gracilis. It's one of the hamstring muscles. So when you stretch the hamstrings, you also need to stretch the inner thigh. It's a big, strong muscle. Stabilizes your hips. And go ahead and rotate those toes in. Let's take another shoulder stretch. Give those hips a minute. Kind of going all over the place today. All right, sweet. We're going to cough into our elbow, okay? Try to drop that shoulder down so that just the elbow's in front of you. I've got my right arm across my body. I'm going to take my left hand right above the elbow, and I'm just going to bring that elbow to the opposite arm. Okay, so try to relax that right elbow, that right shoulder, that right arm, and you should feel a gentle stretch in the shoulder. Sitting up 60, 70%. Deep breaths. Kind of imagining you're pulling that arm out to get a stretch. While I'm at it, I'm going to just get up in this shoulder blade on this side. Oh yeah, that's the source of my problems today. And just holding that stretch. Go ahead now and straighten the arm and pull it towards you a little bit more. Get a little rotation. And release nice and slow. Deep breath, other side. So again, we're going to cough into the elbow. Okay, we're going to take the left hand. We're coughing into left elbow. Take the right hand and just bring that arm away from the socket. Drop this shoulder. Try to relax it down. Now is a good time for any requests, everybody, because we are going to get the lower back a little bit more, and then we're going to use the foam or yoga mat or t-shirt, whatever you've got. Got a few extra minutes for requests if you got them. Get up in his shoulder blade too. Just holding. Of course, you can get your neck involved too. And release nice and slow. Let's go ahead and just do some circles. Loosen up those shoulders a bit more. Okay. Like you're paddling. Okay. Good. And take a quick break. Grab a drink of water. This time I'll grab water. It is bleeping snowing outside. All right, go ahead and everybody sit in your chair. If you don't have a chair available, you can do these on the ground. I'll show that in just a second. But we're gonna sit right on the edge of our seat here. Now, the key here is to imagine that you're pushing your feet into the floor, okay? So if we're sitting here slouched and I push my feet into the floor, it lifts me up. It stabilizes my lower legs and it stabilizes the hips. And we're gonna leave the hips stationary as we do this. And we're gonna leave the knees. They're not gonna move at all, okay? So let's go ahead, let's take our left hand and we're gonna put it on the right thigh, okay? And I'm just putting my hand right behind my butt here on the base of the chair, and I'm just gonna rotate slightly. Don't let this knee get pulled in, unless that feels good on your IT band, then of course you can do that, okay? Deep breaths. Relax those shoulders, just taking a nice stretch out of the low back, staying nice and tall as we do this. Belly is a bit engaged to help me lengthen the spine here. Deep breaths. It's a little hard to breathe in this position because you're twisting your spine a little, but just keep breathing, focus on that air. And come in nice and slow. If you are not supposed to twist your spine for whatever reason, what I recommend is just kind of doing little rotations here, like you're like one of those little bobbleheads or whatever, okay? Just articulate through the spine, get the spine moving, do what your body can do, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, and if you're on the ground, what I recommend is just crossing one leg over the other and then rotating this way, okay? Or if you want, you can just go ahead and do your standard, not sure what this one's called, but your yoga stretch here like that, okay? Otherwise, just gonna anchor those feet. Right hand on the left thigh, don't move those knees, and up and to the side, shoulders relaxed. Deep breaths. Deep, deep breaths. You can get your head involved too. Oh. And release very, very slowly. Let's go ahead and do a modified cat-cow. So we're going to puff out the chest and the hips a little bit. Inhaling. Use the hands to help you, right? And then forward, opening the shoulder blades, collapsing the hips. Exhaling. Imagine that you're trying to get air down to here, okay? Because you are. That's about where your lungs end, all the way in the chest there. Especially if you have asthma, really keep breathing into the nose. Out through the mouth. One more. and relax. Good. All right, let's grab your squishy thing, your yoga mat, your foam, whatever you're going to use. I will show you with the yoga mat because it's similar enough to a t-shirt as well. So I'm just going to have it rolled up. Okay. Depending on your flexibility will determine how thick you want it rolled up. So this is like the maximum it will go, which is your maximum stretch here. If this is too much for you for this stretch, just unfold it a bit and it'll take some of that pressure off. So we're just going to set it right down on the floor. And let's just go ahead and we're going to loosen up the spine in the back real quick first. So just soft knees and you're just going to go down as far as you're able. This is about it for me right now. And just relax your head. And you can move your hips side to side. All right. Okay, so we're going to come on up. And you can use a wall or a tabletop, whatever's next to you, or your chair. And you're going to step on your squishy thing. Let your toes kind of hang off the side if you've got a yoga mat. Okay, and you're going to step on it. Already feel that stretch. Both sides. Let your toes hang over the side. Let your knees unlock and just stand here. For most of us, this is going to be a heck of a stretch for the calves and the feet, hopefully. So relax your toes. I'm just going to shimmy a little bit. Not locking the knees, kind of slouching a little bit. Relax the glutes. Just holding the core about 50%. Okay. Deep breaths. And just relax, everybody. Shifting the weight side to side. Relaxing. Go ahead and keep using your yoga mat or your t-shirt or towel, whatever you've got. I prefer my foam pad. Of course, it's harder to use. And just deep breaths. Just shifting the weight. Now, one thing that I tend to do, especially when I shift onto one side, I lock that knee. Really try to relax that knee, okay? Keep both knees slightly bent. All right, let's go ahead now. You're going to open up as wide as you are able. I guess I will use my yoga mat. Okay, as wide as you're able. Okay, so get the edge of your feet on the edge of your squishy thing. Okay, and you're going to bend both knees. You're going to push those hips back, and you're just going to hang here. Okay, or if you want, you can go all the way down. Go as far as you want. Okay, keep doing that. I don't like my heels touching a hard surface. That's not very friendly to me. So this is what I'm going to do so that my heels are on the squishy yoga mat. Now, if you are using something that's rolled up, I really want you to make sure that you're getting your toes involved too, okay? Because we are trying to stretch the foot as we do this. Okay, so let your foot open up, let it relax. Let all those muscles, those fan-shaped muscles in the foot open and spread out over that roll. And you're just going to hold here best you can. Of course, if you want your chair or your countertop here, that's great. Okay, you can do this too. Whew, and just shimmying side to side, getting those toes involved. Gently straightening and bending the knees. And yep, you can let your hips move side to side. Ooh, if you find a spot like right there that feels good, hold it. This may feel really good on your lower back or your IT band, by the way. It's all connected. Deep breaths. Release that tension. Think about what you're going to do today. Hopefully it's something productive that makes you happy. Go ahead and switch sides if you've been leaning to one side. Just keep stretching, keep breathing. Get both sides of the body as evenly as you can. And as you're breathing, I want you to imagine the places where you feel the stretch and try to release the tension from those places. Just let that tension go. Deep, deep breaths. We're going to be holding this for a little bit longer. Deep breaths. Try to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. If your knees start to shake, just come out of the stretch a little bit. Deep breath. And you're going to just come up nice and slow. Lower back. Go ahead and push those hips forward. Okay, don't lock the knees. Just push the hips forward a little bit, taking that pressure off the low back. Good. All right. We have just a few minutes left, so let's go ahead. We're going to keep using our yoga mat here, except this time we're just going to do, I'm going to use my phone. We're just going to do 1 foot at a time. Okay, so if you're using a rolled up towel, it's going to work the same. Whatever you're using is going to work the same. You're going to need to bring it a little bit further away from your stabilizer. Okay, so you'll step 1 foot on your squishy thing and then your other foot in front of it. Okay, and then go ahead and lean on your stabilizer. Now, the foot that's on your squishy thing, you're going to need to really relax. Okay, really just let that knee bend just a tiny bit and imagine that that heel is very heavy and it's going to drop towards the floor. And if you're like me, you're really going to feel this stretch in the heel, in the hamstring, in the calf, in your innermost being. Oh, very tight Achilles tendons today. Oh, by the way, if anybody needs new tennis shoes, I know it's kind of tough right now because you usually want to try things on, but Playmakers is doing at-home fittings. If you have, I don't know what platform they're using, but they're doing like web fittings with customers to try to help you get a good pair of shoes, and they'll show you which kind of shoes they'd recommend. So if you need new shoes, it's a good time to get them, especially because the weather is gonna get nice. Never know. Okay, go ahead now, keep that back foot relaxed, but you're gonna take your front leg and you're gonna imagine that it's traveling towards the toes, okay? And keep this back heel down. This is gonna increase the stretch. Relax that back knee. Oh, relax both knees. Definitely leaning on my chair here, not practicing my balance. To come out of this, I like to straighten the front knee and lean slowly over that front leg and just release the foot very, very slow because it's going to be tight. Give it a minute. Okay, just loosen it up nice and slow. Give it a minute. Little circles. And we'll do the other side, and that'll be it for the day. Let's go ahead and just have one heel very heavy off the back of your squishy thing. And both knees slightly bent, pushing into your counter, your wall, your chair, whatever you got. Nice deep breaths. Relax the shoulders best that you can. Keep those knees relaxed. Remember, don't lock this back knee especially. We don't want to put any extra tension into the back of the calf right now. It already has enough. If you don't feel the stretch, increase the length of your stride. So separate your feet further. Should have said this earlier too. Don't let your foot turn sideways, right? Keep them parallel. Walk like an Egyptian, right? And we're breathing. Relax the toes. Try not to clench up those toes. And we're going to make sure that both knees are slightly bent and keep that back heel heavy as we travel that front knee forward. Just a little bit. You're not going to need much. Deep breaths. Oh, try to relax that knee. This back knee is going to really want to tense up. Try not to let it. And your butt, too. Unclench your butt. To come out of this, just straighten your front leg and shift your weight very slowly onto that leg. Very slowly. Give that back heel a minute. Okay, just do little circles. Okay. And go ahead and grab a drink of water. And let's just go ahead and get rid of your squishy thing. So if you have any foot issues, plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis, or if you have some posterior knee issues or hamstring issues going on, stretching the calves like that, a bit of an extra stretch is really good to help keep that back body nice and limber. Okay, so let's just open up our feet and we're gonna bend down as we reach arms up towards the ceiling and down. Let's do this a couple times. And relax. So just bring those arms up and down and up and down. Let's go all the way up and come down. Deep breath. Thank you, everybody.